G'day Internet, welcome to Stick Ninjas, Devlog episode 11. My name is Andrew Russell. And if you've been following along with my devlog for the past several weeks, you'll know that I've been spending most of my time working on the networking for Stick Ninjas. And lately I've been feeling like I've been getting quite bogged down with the networking, and that I need to step back and take a break from that. Let it percolate for a little while and then come back to it nice and fresh. So I've decided to go and work on the physics and platformer movement systems for Stick Ninjas. And so this week I've brushed off my old game Dark, which is a 2D physics-based platformer. Now, Dark is a game that I made in about 4 months for a competition in 2009, and technically it's pretty amazing, which is why I'm going to be stealing code from it. But gameplay-wise, it kind of sucks. This was in 2009, before Limbo came out and showed everyone how to do a nice, dark and moody 2D physics-based platformer. So yeah, if you want a good game, go and play that. If you've read my latest blog post about perfectionism, my perfectionism was in full swing when I was working on Dark, so you can see quite a lot of that. So the most obvious feature you can see here is the 2D lighting, which I won't be copying into Stick Ninjas, but I thought I'd talk about it briefly because it's pretty amazing. It's rendering these dynamic lights with vector-based soft shadows, and it's doing that entirely on the GPU, so it's very fast. It's also entirely gameplay irrelevant, which was a huge mistake planning and design-wise, but oh well. But it was fun, I guess, to really squeeze out the performance on this one to get so many lights to render on the Xbox 360. So that's where most of the development time went, which was a huge mistake. So next up is the platformer physics engine, which is the major component that I'm going to be bringing across from Dark to Stick Ninjas. And basically it's running on top of the Farseer 2D physics engine, except for the player object, which is selectively ignoring the physics engine to run its own custom player movement code. And the idea behind that is it gives me complete control over how the player moves about, and so I can tune it to make the platforming feel really good. Unfortunately, the tuning that I did for Dark, well, it kind of sucked. It was really quite bad, and the player's movement feels really very floaty. So in Stick Ninjas I'll be fixing this and making the player movement a lot tighter. And I'll be adding sort of these features you might expect from a game about ninjas, like flipping and wall jumping and other sort of acrobatics. So I'll cross over to show you the initial prototyping work that I've done to port this over to Stick Ninjas. So you can see here I can create new physics objects, and I can set them to be dynamic and drag them around and then put them back into place. And then I can hit a button and create my player character, which I can then have run and jump over this terrain. So this is going fairly well, but there's a fair bit more work to go into it. So the final thing that I'm going to show you today is the Dark level editor, which is pretty fully featured, and I'm quite happy with it. It's got undo, redo, it's got cut, copy, paste. I can create any kind of 2D geometry and add it to the physics engine, and then add joints and whatnot. I can create new lights, and then I can add more of these little triangle dudes, and generally just interact freely with the level. But the coolest feature is the ability to play the game in the editor. So I hit the play button and the game starts running, and I can have mouse control over objects, so I can drag things around, and then I can hit a button to put a player into the world and then run around and jump and interact with the puzzles and so on. And I can also bring up an overlay that shows the internals of the physics engine and what's going on in there. So the ability to run the game within the editor really cuts down on the production time of levels, because you're not having to save out of the editor and then going to the game and then back into the editor and so on. So you can make levels really quickly. So this is the sort of thing that I'll be bringing into Stick Ninjas later on. So that's it for this week. For more development news, you can subscribe to my blog at andrewrussell.net, or you can follow me on Twitter at _AndrewRussell. And if you go to stickninjas.com, you can put your email address in the little email address form and get a notification as soon as Stick Ninjas is available for playable pre-order. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.